Okay.
Now we're live.
No, no. Okay, so hi everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. Sorry, I'm laughing because we've had a couple of technical issues.
We're like crown past virgins, aren't we?
We are. Sorry, completely hilarious. But to start again, because this is actually the third time that we're doing this now between me and Karen. I'm Jemma from Celery Cupcakes, and for those of you who are tuning in and don't know who I am, and I blog about ditching the diet culture, embracing your body, and finding your own version of balance. And as you can see, we've got a special guest for tonight's workshop, Karen from 365 Paths of Wisdom. So hi, Karen.
Hi, Jemma.
You're looking at me in disbelief.
It's fine.
It's fine, it's all good. It's technology. We should go back to old-fashioned pen and paper.
Yes.
So just to start with, I just wondered if you wanted to get over what you blog about and why you do it.
Yeah, sure. So I blog at 365 Pearls of Wisdom, and my blog is around sort of mindset, well-being and self-help for women. And it's set around sort of famous quotes, 365 of them, hopefully one for every day of the year. And I just blog about sort of different topics around sort of self-care, confidence, relationships, anything that people generally get stuck on, maybe some personal experiences that I've had, or things that, you know, when I've been chatting to other women, issues that have come up in their life that has sort of inspired me to write, and sort of, that sort of thing. Hopefully when people watch the replay, they'll see that I made a better job of telling what it's about.
It's fine. I think everyone got what you blog about, and it's really inspiring. So go and check Karen's blog out. We'll talk about all the details about where we can find you and everything at the end. Sure. So we're going to talk about balance, particularly what to do when you've lost your balance, because I think it's really important to have in your life, and I think it's really essential that you know how to regain your balance. So I thought we'll start at the very beginning. And I'm always blogging about what balance means to me, but it's a really subjective thing. Sure. So what does balance mean to you?
So I kind of touched on it before, but for me, balance, first of all, is something that I don't think, there's no perfect definition of balance. As you've said before, like balance means something different to everybody. And I don't think that everyone is ever in a perfect state of balance, because life is just so transitional, isn't it? Things up and down, life ebbs and flows. So I think it's unrealistic for me to sort of think, that's it, I found it, perfect balance. So, but when I feel at my best, when I feel at my most grounded and calm, it's normally when I'm able to give myself to other situations in my life, like being a mum, being a wife, going to work, doing the school run, you know, seeing family, all those other things in life, my commitments and responsibilities that I need to give myself to. Yeah. But I'm also carving out time for me and doing the things that are important to me, doing the self-care bits and bobs that make me feel uplifted, boosted or inspired. Those little things that help me get through the day. So when I can kind of achieve both of those, that's when I kind of feel like things are good.
Yeah, I love that you you make a priority that you make time for yourself, because you know when you're juggling all those balls as women, we're kind of given these kind of caregiver roles, and we just give, and we don't kind of make time for ourselves. And I think sometimes as women, we don't think we're worthy of our own care, because we have to look after all these people, you know, as a mom, as a wife, as a sister, or whatever. And we think, but everything's on me. So isn't it selfish if I make time for myself? But no, it's not. Being putting yourself at number one is, is a really selfless act that you can do for yourself. And actually, it's actually going to benefit those around you, your loved ones, because there's this whole like big saying in self-care that you have to refill or your empty cup. You can't pour from an empty cup, basically.
Right.
And if you give, and you're not receiving, not necessarily from other people, but from yourself, then you're not going to be able to give to others the best that you can.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that sentiment.
So, we've talked about what balance means to you.
Yeah.
What helped you to instill balance in your life? Are there any kind of like routines or rituals that kind of keep you grounded?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, my sort of finding balance in my life has been a journey, and it's kind of changed throughout my life as I've gone through different transitions and stages in my life. Sort of where I'm at now, you know, being a mum of 2 small children, being married, having all the commitments of work and running a house, but also trying to set up sort of my own business and running a business with my husband and stuff. It's kind of, there's lots of things in our day-to-day life that kind of come into it. Yeah. So for me, making sure that I can get up every day and kind of handle everything that's thrown at me, I have to have little things that I sort of implement, maybe not every day, but through. And so I kind of figured this out the hard way, actually. I think many people who follow me on social media, on my blog, know that when I had my second daughter, I suffered quite badly with postnatal depression, and I still suffer with depression and anxiety from time to time now. And those things normally crop up when I start to get out of balance.
Yeah.
That means that my self-care rituals are the things that start to slip.
Yeah.
And that's when things normally get a bit crazy around here. So I spent some time a while ago thinking about the things that I needed for me every day to put into my life. And it's not the same every day, because not every day is not the same, is it? I don't know about you, but in our house, with school and preschool and stuff, and, you know, different meetings and things going on every day. Every day is different. So I can't say to you that every day I'm going to get up and do this or do that for myself, my balance. So, but some people do have the same thing. So it's a very personal thing, isn't it? Exactly. So for me, I have to be flexible in my self-care and what I need to find balance. So first of all, I need to be aware of that.
Yeah.
So I kind of have like a toolkit of things that helps me. So for instance, because you're thinking, what is it then, Karen?
Tell us.
When my head is really foggy and puzzled, 2 things that really help me is going and doing kind of guided meditations. I'm used to just sitting and meditating on my own. I'll put my hands up and I'll be like, I can't do that. I need guided meditation.
Yeah, I'm saying.
So going and doing one of those sometimes really, really helps me to just ground myself, block out all the noise that's going on, and just get a bit of clarity. And sometimes when I can't just lie there and listen and I fidget and I can't get rid of stuff, one thing that really helps me is reading a book.
Yeah.
And I have a few books that I go back to time and time again. Ones that are just kind of personal that I know that helps me, and I will just pick them up and I will just read them.
Okay.
And I can literally say to my husband, I need to go and have 10 minutes, and he'll go, yeah, okay.
Oh, that's so nice.
He'll normally bring me a cup of tea because he knows what's going on. So things that have really, really helped for me. I'd love to say that exercise really helps, but it doesn't. I do it because I know it's good for me, but I don't. So I have a love-hate thing with exercise, but I know a lot of people find so much peace from exercising. But yeah, mine is, my 2 big massive things are guided meditations or reading a book. And my daily things would just be kind of, more than anything, at the end of the day, beginning and end of the day, bookending time, 10, 20, 30 minutes, that's just me time. If I can get that, everything in the middle of my day, doesn't matter what's happening. So those are my 3 things that I kind of need to have my daily thing, which is blocking out time, and then my go-to things when things get really crazy for me.
Sounds like you've got it sorted.
Well, I have, and that's why I like to go. And it doesn't always work, because sometimes life does get stressful, and I can't cope with certain situations sometimes. But through different situations that I've been through, very sort of personal, stressful situations, I've really taken notice about what has helped me. And I talk to my husband a lot about what helps me. I'm very aware. So we almost have like a safety plan in place. And I often tell people, you know, have you got a well-being safety plan in place? And people look at me to say, what's that? So I talk to them about. And just little things like we've always got a frozen pizza in our freezer. Always, because on the days when I'm not very well and I can't cope, my husband knows that he can walk through the door and put a pizza on, and we all get fed that night.
I love that.
It's so simple. It's so
yeah.
simple.
I love that. It's like a kind of like self-care, I don't know, first aid kit.
Part of my wellness toolkit is always having a frozen pizza, so I know that my children will always get fed if I can't cope with what's going on. If I'm out of balance, can't find self-care, he can come home, or he's often at home. So it's about going into yourself and learning those little tips.
Yeah, I think it's really important to be kind of in tune with yourself, because practicing self-care is great, but I think it's also important to recognise when you actually need to practice self-care.
Absolutely.
It shows that you're listening to your body, you're in tune with yourself, and that's really important. And for me, a morning routine does me the world of good. I just find having a morning routine really kind of anchors my day, kind of really kickstarts it. I'm really big on routine. So some of the things that I do are like journaling. That's a big thing for me. Nothing like complicated. I just write like some positive intentions. I like pull out an affirmation card.
Just your affirmation card.
Oh, they're by Chris Carr. Hold on, I've got them down here. Just while we're talking about them, these ones.
Yeah.
They're like little love notes.
I love Chris Carr. She's amazing, isn't she?
Amazing, and they're really beautifully illustrated as well, and so bright and positive. I love them. So I pull one of those out. So just start the day on a really like positive note.
That sounds so peaceful and relaxing, and just kind of giving yourself space to kind of get your head ready for the day.
I mean, I must say that sometimes it's with a toddler in tow. He wants to doodle all over my journal, colouring. And then I've recently just kind of put into my morning routine 5-minute like yoga flow. I'm not really good at yoga. I'm not very flexible, but I don't think that matters. I think it's just getting on the mat, and just a stretch can do you the world of good.
Yeah, and I think it's more about doing something for you. It's not about everything being perfect. I think that I think that's so important when we think about finding balance.
Yeah.
And I used to struggle like that. Where, like I said, when I used to do meditations, I used to think, I'm getting it wrong.
Yeah.
I can't do this. There's something wrong with me. It's not perfect.
Yeah.
And I think we need to get over this idea of balance just being this perfect thing that just kind of lifts us up into the sky and everything's beautiful and wonderful. Balance sometimes is just, like you said, doing yoga with a toddler next to you.
Yeah, I mean, he was eating breakfast on my yoga mat the other mornings.
Yeah, I've always got a child or a cat on my yoga mat when I'm doing it. But it's kind of like you're doing something for yourself at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the important thing, isn't it? Is that you're able to just do something for you whilst kind of managing your other commitments.
Exactly, and sometimes he'll try and do a downward facing dog. He does it better than me, but it's quite nice. It's quite sweet, and we have laughs together. And
you know what? I always think about when we do these self-care practices with our children around. For anyone out there who's got children too, I always think we're instilling these healthy habits into them.
Exactly.
I never had that with you know, with my parents, I was never really aware of them doing self-care. So for me, it was a discovery for me. Nobody taught me.
Yeah.
Especially with my oldest daughter now, she's so aware of all the different things that I do for myself.
Yeah.
And she's starting to mirror that and pick up and develop her own thing. And I just think, actually, if I make it all private about me and I don't do self-care around everyone else, then nobody gets to really see it. And now she's developing her own little things.
Yeah.
Little mantra that I taught her when she gets really cross or angry or frustrated. She does a little mantra that I've taught her to say to herself, and it calms herself down.
Sweet.
And even like my husband, who, you know, possibly doesn't always believe in balance and self-care. I look at his lifestyle now, and some of my things have rubbed off on him too. So actually, when we close ourselves off and we have these private moments, they're not always, I guess, good for the rest of the family. When I can practice self-care around my husband and my children, I see that rubbing off on them, and that makes me feel really good too, that I'm encouraging and teaching them.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point, actually, because investing in your own well-being and your own self-care and your kind of attitudes around food does kind of reflect in your children. So working on my own mindset around food and exercise and self-care, etc., it's not just about investing in myself, it's also about investing in my child. And I think that's a really important point. I think I'm going to turn the light on because I look like I'm sitting in a really dark cave. Turn the light on.
Well, it's not. I don't know why I've just said that.
Oh, that hasn't made the slightest bit of difference. Are you sitting really close to a window?
Yeah, I've got my window just right here.
Oh, mine's a bit further over there. Never mind. We'll continue from my dark cave.
You look fine. Fine, don't worry.
But I think, yeah, as you say, with these things, it's always important to be really flexible and not to be too hard on yourself if it does go wrong, because obviously I'd love to do my yoga without a toddler sitting on my mat eating breakfast and without my son doodling in my beautiful notebook. But it doesn't matter at the end of the day. The fact that you've shown up, you're there doing it, and I think that's the most important thing. And doing things with your children that are kind of meant for you, but you're doing it for them, as you said, is, you know, if you're teaching them about self-care and having a healthy relationship with food, etc. And yeah, I think it's a really lovely thing. And, you know, a child's smile is a lovely way to start the day with, a really positive way to start the day. So I think that's really lovely. And sometimes we talk about routines. Sometimes I do a little bit of meditation as well, like just a couple of minutes. I can't do it every day. I'm not one of those people that can do it consistently. It's just not me. And I do need guided meditations. And I think people think that meditating is like sitting there with your legs crossed burning incense, you know. But it's not at all. It's just, you know, about just being at peace, closing your eyes. You don't have to do any like humming or chanting or anything. I certainly don't.
No, I don't.
And I use an app. I use the Calm app, which I find really helpful. Do you use any apps or anything?
I do. I've just discovered this new one from a lovely lady that I follow on Instagram. Tell you who she is. She's a therapist in Bristol, and she got me onto this app, which I just really love.
There's so many meditation apps out there.
Sure.
I think there's something for everyone, because I know everyone was on Headspace for a while, then like loads more came up.
Yeah. So I'll give her a little shout out. Jemma David from The Quiet Heart. She got me onto this app called Insight Timer.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
Really good. It's one of the best I've found, actually, because you can just literally put in any word, and I'll put in like focus.
Yeah.
and it comes up with all these different meditations where it focuses the theme, and you use the time. Sometimes I've got 5 minutes, sometimes I've got 20 minutes, so you can just and people rate the meditation to say kind of and give it stars and just sort of say, give little reviews, and that's really helpful too. I've found that's just such a good one that I'm really, really getting on with well at the moment.
I'm going to write that down. Insight Timer.
Insight Timer. It's brilliant. I've really, really loved it. And then I also go back to and the other ones that I use is before I had my second baby. Again, people who follow me might know this. When I was trying to get pregnant with my second baby, I had secondary infertility. Secondary, I couldn't get treated on the NHS because they only treat primary infertility. And so I went back and saw the lady that did all my hypnobirthing when I had my first daughter, and she did reflexology and hypnobirthing for fertility. And she kind of came up, she made me kind of 5 or 6 different kind of guided meditations. Stress, sleep, both different subjects. And her voice is just, there's something about her voice that just really, I don't know, just resonates with me. So I find her voice very, very, very calming. And then, but also you might find this interesting. So my big girl, she listens to guided meditations when she goes to sleep.
Well, they're quite soothing and relaxing, aren't they?
Yeah, because she's always had trouble going to sleep. And then a lovely friend of mine called Charlotte, who's also a hypnotherapist. She has a lovely like children's meditation packs. It's called Charlotte Stories, of people out there who've got kids and they want to look at all these like little meditations. She's amazing. She has these meditation bedtime tracks at Charlotte Stories, and it's honestly, Gemma, the most beautiful thing that you've ever heard. I sometimes like cry when I listen to them when she's going to bed, and I'll sit in because I want to listen to them. And so my big girl goes off to sleep beautifully with those. So again, for me, kind of rubbing off. She knows I do guided meditations, but again, that's rubbed off on her, and she just absolutely loves them.
Oh, that's really lovely. I love that there's something out there for children as well.
Yeah, she's very clever, my friend is. And again, she just has this voice which is just hypnotizing. It's beautiful and soft, and she just knows exactly the right words to say for children, and her stories are beautiful, and they just lead you through a guided meditation in a story. And then at the end she just kind of settles them down. My big girl is always asleep by the time they finish.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah,
I do love meditations. You can get sleep meditations as well, can't you, that help you drift off to sleep?
On Insight Timer, there's, if you put in sleep, it'll come up with a whole bunch of sleep.
I'm downloading that app tonight.
Yeah, definitely recommend that to anybody. It's brilliant.
Okay, so my next question for you is, because we've spoken about how to, like, things that help you achieve balance in your life, are there any obstacles that get in your way?
Yes, absolutely. And I know when they're coming as well. So I again, for me, balance is about being very intuitive and knowing the things that do get in my way, and it helps me to kind of stop spiraling quicker and find that balance, sort of momentum, a lot easier. So kind of for me, the main things that get in the way, obviously family life. It's so unpredictable. And again, whether you have children or not, life just does get in the way, and sometimes its resilience isn't always there, especially when you get sort of one thing after the other. So that's kind of difficult. For me, it's not getting that much needed downtime. That's why I do try and block out time for myself at the beginning and the end of the day. So when things get busy and when my routine goes off of schedule, like for instance, right now, my lovely mum has gone away, and I don't have that support. So, and as you know, we're getting ready to go on a really big trip.
Yeah.
And so I'm a bit of a spin at the moment because I don't have the normal support with my daughter. So little things like that, when they change, often finding that balance really helps me. So that's why I have to have other things in my toolkit at the ready.
Yeah.
Another big one, I think, which we both talked about before, is my tendency to overcommit. And it's all out of the goodness of my heart, because I just want to help and support and love and be there for everybody. But I will get into a habit, and my husband's really good at kind of pulling me up on this.
Yeah.
It's a habit of like putting everyone first and then just forgetting about me.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I have all these other commitments to other people, but not any time to commit to myself. And like you said before, you know, when you said about you can't pour from an empty cup. And so sometimes you could think, well, you know, it's nice to help other people. It's nice to kind of look after other people and support people. You're doing a really good thing. And I get a lot from supporting other people, but I get to a point where I'm supporting everybody so much, I'm not supporting me. And then I can't support them anymore.
Exactly.
So it's counterproductive.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like counterintuitive, isn't it? When you actually sit down and think about it, but when you're actually in the process of it, you just completely ignore it.
Yeah.
And I come from like kind of like a mindset of giving is better than receiving. So like birthdays, Christmas, I love buying presents for like, you know, my loved ones and stuff, and I don't really care if I don't get anything. Not that I don't like receiving gifts, I do, but I much prefer to like give.
Yeah.
And it's that whole kind of concept that can be related to self-care as well. If you're constantly giving, and you're not receiving anything, then you don't have anything to give away, because you need to make time to refill your cup. And I think a lot of one of the obstacles that I found with balance is overcomplicating things. I think a lot of people with self-care, they think that like you have to go like on a retreat or a spa day or a holiday, but it doesn't have to be that time consuming. It doesn't have to be that expensive. It's literally 5 or 10 minutes every day. You have to make it a habit. It's not something that comes easy. It's something that you have to practice. 5 or 10 minutes every day where you just prioritize yourself. And it can be going for a walk, buying yourself some flowers, making a playlist of your favorite songs, sitting down with, you know, a cup of tea and a magazine. It doesn't have to be expensive, and it doesn't have to be time consuming. And I think that's a major stumbling block for a lot of people. And another thing that I find is that people always say that they don't have time for self-care. And self-care is a big part of balance. And I mean, one of the things that I would tell my readers and some of my clients is that if you're, you know, how many times you check your phone, how many times are you mindlessly scrolling through your phone, not particularly doing much, you're just, I don't know, just wasting time, killing time. But you could use this time more productively. You could be practicing self-care. I mean, honestly, if self-care for you is scrolling through your phone, fine. You know, that's, you know, self-care is individual concept, and it's going to appear, you know, differently in everybody's lives. But if it's not, if like me, you find like social media really overwhelming, then use that time more positively, because I find social media can be really sorry, I find social media a really positive place. I love connecting with new people, staying in touch and stuff, and finding really inspirational stories and things like that. But it can be the most overwhelming place. It can actually become rather negative. I find myself comparing myself to others, you know, people with bigger followings who are in the same kind of realms as me, but, you know, putting the same messages across to a much bigger audience. I'm thinking, well, how can I really add to the conversation? What Is what I'm saying any value? So there's that whole kind of comparison cycle. So sometimes my social media, I do have a scroll through and like delete people who are having a negative influence. And it's not to be nasty, it's nothing personal.
That's okay.
Exactly. It's all about kind of making your social feeds full of more positive things, that are having a joyful effect on you rather than negative influence. I think it's really important.
And I think from you saying that, I think that sometimes, like you said, we get lost in other people's journey. And I think a big part of self-care and finding balance is focusing on your own journey.
Yeah.
For me, when I have to, and I have the same thing, and I don't think there's no one out there that can say that they don't scroll through social media and don't feel any kind of comparison envy.
Yeah.
It's talked about so much. It's not like you and I are just introducing this as a new topic to get
together.
No, everyone out there is shaking their heads and going, yes, that happens to me. And it happens to me as well. And especially in the situation that I've been blogging for a long time, and people who I follow who've been blogging for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, all of a sudden are doing their blogging journey is completely different. So my kind of what I try to do with myself and my own kind of brain when that happens, and I look at the people, I think, I have to say to myself, you have to focus on your journey and where you are now. And I have to bring myself back to my journey and think that this is where I am in it. It doesn't mean I'm not going to be where they are one day. And it doesn't mean that their journey is always going to look the way that it does for them. Like success might not always be there for them. And I always try to think of the saying that is, you're right where you need to be right now. And that kind of helps to kind of bring me back to sort of focus and stop me thinking I'm not as good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's also times when, you say that, life gets in the way and I'm not, practicing self-care. And there are times because I promote body positivity a lot on my blog, and I look around and don't love my body. And during those times, I think, am I just being a fraud? So how can I serve others about body positivity and self-care, etc. if I'm not loving myself in this moment, and if I'm not practicing self-care? That kind of whole imposter syndrome. But I think there is some kind of comfort in knowing that even though when you're struggling and when you're kind of, still growing, that you still have a voice, and your voice is still worthy, and you still have something to say. And even though there's much, there's other people with bigger followings and, who's been doing it for a shorter time, you still have, you still are adding to the conversation because you're giving your own perspective that may be more relatable compared to the bigger the bigger blogger.
I think you have to remember that nobody can do you as well as you can do you.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good point. So yeah, we've talked through so much stuff. We've gone through so much stuff. Okay, just kind of wrap things up. What would be your top tip or tips to people who are looking for more balance in their lives?
I think that a good way, if people are struggling to find balance and they're struggling to kind of inject that into their life, I find it really, really helpful to get out my diary and literally plan time into my day or into my week to just have something for me.
Yeah.
Whether that is, going out for a drink with my friends, or taking a bath, or, watching a TV show. My husband and I schedule our TV nights together. So Friday, Saturday and Sunday are our TV nights. And that's scheduled in, and the rest of it is our time. So that helps us to find balance. So we're allowed to watch movies together on Friday, Saturday, Sundays, and the rest of the week we don't spend together. That helps us find better. So that is a schedule. So for me, scheduling it in, even like scheduling working in a different place, or doing something different in your life think you're struggling to find balance, get your diary out, have a good look at how your week pans out, and schedule in some time to do stuff for yourself. Something you touched on earlier is about believing that you deserve to have balance in your life and not feeling guilty for taking some time for yourself to find balance. You can find a way to ditch that guilt and believe that you're worthy of having balance there. That's going to be, I think, really, really helpful to people who struggle with, like you said, thinking, you know, I've got other things to do.
Yeah.
Should I be giving my time to this? And the answer to that is always absolutely yes. We're always of having some time to ourselves, and that will help with balance. And the other thing that I kind of wanted to mention about this is when you are struggling and you feel that things are out of balance and things are a bit crazy, is actually just reaching out and telling somebody. Massive thing for me, and it's not suffering on your own. So saying, I do need some help this weekend with the kids. I just need to take an hour to myself. Or talking to your boss at work and saying, I do feel like this part of work is bothering me. Can we just talk it through? Or calling your friend up and saying, I've had a really awful morning. The cats are up everywhere. I've got a flat tire. The really important thing about balance is just sharing what's going on for you with someone else and not isolating yourself away.
Yeah, I think that's the whole thing of recognizing when you need to practice some self-care. That's really, you know, being in tune with your body again. That's
ever
the theme. Yeah,
you never have to suffer on your own. There's always going to be someone out there who you can just unload, and you just literally say, I need to unload for 5 minutes, or come and have a coffee with me. I need to unload, and then maybe you can unload me. I just think when we suffer on our own and things get out of balance in life, it makes things 10 times harder by not. And people are scared to open up. They're scared to be vulnerable, and they're scared that they're bothering other people.
But I mean, you see that a lot. It is a community, and I think another thing about social media is that you always see what you're seeing is people's highlight reels. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. So being more open. I mean, obviously, you don't have to put the finer detail on social media, but it's okay to say that you're not okay today, and it's that kind of that whole thing of being scared to show that you're vulnerable and that you're human. You know. You see all these beautiful pictures on Instagram, which is fine, but they're not necessarily real. It's not necessarily a true perception of what's going on in that person's life. And I think if you are, you know, saying that actually today I'm not okay because of X, Y, Z, you don't necessarily have to go into the details. Someone that might actually comfort someone else.
Yeah.
Might be able to relate to your story. You just don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And I think that's another really important thing to get across.
Absolutely. When I've talked out my problems, anything that's like thrown me off balance, when I've talked it through with somebody, I instantly always feel so much lifted, so much more in control and grounded when I've actually said those words out loud to somebody else. That has been my top tip.
I know if you've got it milling around in your mind for so long, it's not healthy. It's always good, even if you've got it out in your journal, or write it down, or write an email or something, or talking to someone. It can be a big relief. So also, I just want to make a point that whole concept of that it's okay not to be okay. I think that's a really important message to get across as well, because. You mentioned before this kind of whole perception that, you know, perfect balance, it doesn't really exist. And I think it's essential that we kind of recognize that, balance isn't perfect. It's okay when we're struggling, we feel like we're sinking. I mean, sometimes we need to go through certain situations to learn and to grow from them and become a better person because of it. There's a saying where, you need to go through the storms to find the rainbow on the other side. And I think I think it's quite sad that we feel like we have to put on a front. We feel like we can't be ourselves. And I think that's a whole part of being, you know, a part of balance as well, just being you, be you, do you, for you.
Yeah.
I think that's a massive part of balance as well. And sometimes things aren't going well, but when things aren't going well, once you've got through it, and you've kind of, sometimes you have to ride the storm to get through it, new opportunities may open for you.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I am a strong believer in always looking for the silver lining. You know, opportunities hide themselves in the most unlikely places.
Yeah.
And so I think when things do get stormy, you'll always come out the other side, because life is just fluid, isn't it? So it's always going to change, and there's always something you can take from, you know, the bad things in life, the heartaches, the times where things are stressful. Like you said, you can learn so much. I'm such a big believer in that.
Oh, Karen, we've gone through so much stuff. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for inviting me. So fun talking to you.
I hope everyone's enjoyed this workshop. Sorry about the technical hitches. I will email this video out to my email subscribers, and I'll share it on Facebook and wherever else I can, so you can all catch up and view it. So Karen, before we end, would you just like to tell everyone where they can find you and you know, your social media handles and stuff? Sure.
So my blog address is 365pofw.blogspot.uk at the moment, and that will be changing soon. I'm going to take the grown-up step forward of actually getting my own web address soon. That's on my list of things to do. I know. And you can find me on Instagram, like all the time. Instagram is my thing, and that is 365 Pearls of Wisdom. And you can find me at Twitter, which is Karen's Pearls of Wisdom. So it's Karen POFW, Karen's Pearls of Wisdom. It's just the shortened version of Pearls of Wisdom. But you're going to mail everyone out the I'll put all your links and everything in there. And thank you for joining us, and go everyone check out Karen's blog, and it's really inspirational, really inspiring, and her Instagram, she always puts up these most perfect quotes. Your pearls of wisdom. yeah Thanks so much, Karen. Thanks, Jemma.
Bye.
Bye.